I thank the Princeton Institute for International and Regional Studies for the honor of this invitation to speak at the inaugural Africa Summit and to be at a university which has been responsible for producing many important men and women who are doing great things in their respective fields of endeavor across the world. The chance to speak here was one I could not pass, and I'm glad to be in the midst of so many people eager to discuss the future of Africa. The theme of this year's maiden conference, The Future is Africa, Translating Vision into Action, is most compelling as it speaks directly to the nature of the existential challenge confronting contemporary Africa. It is obvious that we need to get on with things that will change the Africa story. The daily grim stories of our young people trekking across the Sahara and dying from thirst or being washed up on the shores of the Mediterranean as they try to get into Europe. We cannot be proud, and according to the Brookings Institute, nearly 413 million of the population of sub-Saharan Africa lives in poverty, with some 140 million African youths being unemployed and 89 million children of school-going age out of school. Therefore comes as no surprise that our continent attracts the unfriendliest of adjectives. We must change the narrative, make Africa attractive for our youth, enabling them to see the continent as a place of opportunities and generate wealth and prosperity for our peoples. All of us, citizens, leaders, have our work cut out. The irony is that Africa should not really be in this conundrum. There are good reasons why we should be able to get ourselves out of the hole and onto the path of hope and prosperity. Indeed, as the theme rightly states, the future is African, and properly so. Firstly, Africa is endowed with tremendous natural resources. The continent is rich in resources that could form the base for processing industries and allied downstream manufacturing industries. According to the report of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, 8th African Development Forum, Africa ranks first or second in the world's reserves of bauxite, chromite, cobalt, industrial diamonds, lithium, manganese, phosphate rock, platinum group metals, soda ash, uranium, vermiculite, and zirconium. Indeed, 30% of the Earth's remaining minerals are to be found in Africa. We're also becoming an important player in the global production of oil and gas. There can be no argument that properly harnessed and efficiently and honestly managed, there are abundant resources on the continent to finance Africa's development. Africa has an abundance of land. She possesses over half of the world's uncultivated arable land. Sustained investment in Africa's agriculture, emphasizing the application of technology, especially digital technology, could yield enormous benefits for the African and global economies in the provision of foodstuffs and diversified agro-based economic activities. Food security for the African peoples would be assured, and the billions currently spent on the importation of food would be free to spend on the other sectors like the serious deficit in infrastructure. The United Nations projects that by 2050, Africa's working population will be about a quarter of the world's population, and a third of the world's youth population, i.e. between the ages of 15 to 24 years, will be in Africa. The empowerment of this young population, with access to education and skills training, will constitute a very powerful tool for economic development in Africa and the world. As a result of growing industrialization and the emerging structural transformation of African economies, countries are becoming more involved in the high end of the global value chain, trading in both final and intermediate manufacturing products. Under these assumptions, by 2030, we'll be talking of an African export market of some 3 trillion United States dollars. You do not need to be an optimist to acknowledge that Africa is where there is room for growth, and the future is indeed Africa.